Some people follow the rules to get rich. Others, they break every rule in the book. From drug lords to cyber criminals, these people built empires worth billions, all while operating outside the law. Some were ruthless, some were geniuses, but they all had one thing in common: they made more money than most countries, and paid the ultimate price for it. Welcome to 3x3 Finance, where we dive into the craziest stories of money, power, and crime. Today, we're looking at the 5 richest criminals in history, and how they made and lost their insane fortunes. Let's get started. Imagine making so much money that banks can't even store it. That was Pablo Escobar, the man who built the biggest drug empire in history. How did he do it? In the 1980s, Escobar's Medellin cartel controlled 80% of the world's cocaine. He smuggled tons of cocaine into the US every month. At its peak, his cartel was making $420 million per week. The problem? He made so much money, he couldn't launder it fast enough. Banks refused to take it because it was too much, so he literally started burying cash in fields. And get this, he lost around $2.1 billion per year just to rats eating his hidden money. His wealth? Estimated at $30 billion at its peak. His life? Ended in a police shootout. A businessman? A crime lord? Why not both? Meet Broken Tooth Juan Cuoccoy, the head of one of the most dangerous triads in China. How did he get rich? He ran illegal gambling operations across Macau. His gang controlled money laundering, loans, and casinos. He even invested in legit businesses to cover up his crimes. At his peak, he was worth over $6 billion. But his downfall? His ego. He started starring in movies about himself. He became too flashy, too powerful, and too public. The Chinese government finally had enough and took him down. He went to prison. But his empire never fully disappeared. How do you trick the entire financial world? By making them believe you're a genius. Meet Elizabeth Holmes. She promised to revolutionize blood testing with her company, Theranos. She convinced investors, celebrities, and even the US government to back her. At its peak, Theranos was worth $10 billion. The problem? Her technology never worked. She faked results, lied to investors, and manipulated data. The entire company was one big scam. She was once the youngest female billionaire in history. Now, she's in prison, the ultimate con artist. What happens when you get too rich? In a country that doesn't like competition. Meet Boris Berezovsky, a mathematician turned billionaire. He used connections with the Russian government to get insanely rich. He owned TV stations, oil companies, and luxury real estate. At his peak, he was worth $3 billion. But then, he made a fatal mistake. He started criticizing Vladimir Putin. Suddenly, his businesses were seized. He was forced to flee to London. Then, in 2013, he was found dead. The cause? Suicide, but many believe otherwise. Why walk into a bank when you can rob it from your laptop? Meet Evgeny Bogachev, one of the most infamous hackers in history. He created a malware network that stole millions from banks. He didn't just hack people, he hacked entire financial systems. His biggest score? He stole over $100 million from banks worldwide. Authorities have never been able to catch him. Where is he now? Still at large. And the best part? The US government put a $3 million bounty on his head, but he's still living free. If you thought Pablo Escobar, Russian oligarchs, and billion-dollar scammers were crazy, wait until you hear about these other criminals who made obscene amounts of money before it all came crashing down. Some of them lived like kings before getting caught. Others, they vanished, taking their fortunes with them. Before we get back to our main list, let's take a look at more of the richest criminals in history, and the shocking ways they made and lost their fortunes. If you think Pablo Escobar was rich, you haven't heard of Zhenli Yegon. This Chinese-Mexican drug trafficker quietly built an empire worth over $10 billion. How did he do it? He ran one of the biggest methamphetamine operations in the world. He supplied cartels with massive amounts of chemicals needed to make drugs. His influence stretched from China to Mexico to the United States. How rich was he? Authorities raided his mansion and found $205 million in cash just lying around. That was just a tiny fraction of his fortune. He was living like a king, until it all fell apart. In 2007, he was arrested and extradited to Mexico. His empire collapsed overnight, but to this day, no one knows where most of his money went. Stealing money is one thing, but stealing history? That's another level. Meet Stefan Breitwieser, the world's most successful art thief. Over 6 years, he stole more than 200 paintings from museums across Europe. The value of his stolen collection? Over $2 billion. And the craziest part? He never sold any of it. Why did he do it? He said he loved art too much to sell it. He kept the paintings in his tiny apartment, living like a broke guy while sitting on billions. How did he get caught? His girlfriend snitched on him. Authorities raided his apartment and recovered only a fraction of the stolen paintings. The rest, they were destroyed. Billions in irreplaceable art, gone forever. Fast food meets high-stakes crime. Meet Jerome Jacobson, the guy who rigged the McDonald's Monopoly game for years. He was in charge of McDonald's promotional prize game. Instead of letting random people win, he secretly stole the biggest prize stickers. He sold them to friends and criminals for a cut of the winnings. How much did he steal? Over $24 million in rigged prizes. He made sure no real customers ever won. How did he get caught? The FBI launched an undercover operation called Operation Final Answer. They tricked him into selling a winning ticket to an agent. Boom, his empire collapsed. Today, it's one of the most bizarre corporate scams in history. Some criminals don't just steal money, they steal entire kingdoms. Meet Thomas Blood, the Irish rogue who pulled off one of history's boldest heists. In 1671, he and his gang broke into the Tower of London. Their target? The British Crown Jewels. They knocked out a guard, grabbed the jewels, and ran. Did he get caught? Yes. But instead of being executed, King Charles II was so impressed by his boldness that he pardoned him. Not only that, but he was given land and a pension. Imagine stealing from the government and getting rewarded for it. That's criminal success at the highest level. Modern criminals don't need guns, they just need the internet. Meet Gerald Cotton, the founder of Quadriga ACX. He ran Canada's largest cryptocurrency exchange. Thousands of people trusted him with their Bitcoin. Then one day he vanished. The catch? Before disappearing, he moved $3.6 billion worth of crypto to hidden wallets. Then, he was declared dead under mysterious circumstances. Did he fake his death? Some say he died in India. Others believe he's living on a private island spending stolen billions. To this day, his missing fortune has never been recovered. What do you do when you're caught in a billion-dollar fraud? Disappear. Meet Marcus Schrenker, a financial advisor who scammed his clients out of millions. He ran a fake investment scheme. When authorities got suspicious, he tried to pull off an insane escape. How? He faked a plane crash. He parachuted out mid-flight and let the plane crash into a swamp. Authorities found the wreckage but no body. The problem? He made one dumb mistake. Instead of disappearing forever, he checked into a hotel under his real name. The police arrested him immediately. From a luxury lifestyle to a prison cell. Real quick. All of these criminals made more money than most CEOs, without following a single rule. Some of them gambled too hard and lost everything. Others, they vanished, never to be seen again. A drug lord with billions buried underground, a hacker who robbed banks from his laptop, a con artist who tricked Wall Street and Silicon Valley, a crypto king who disappeared with $3.6 billion. And the wildest part? There are probably criminals out there right now doing the same thing. When crime pays, until it doesn't. These criminals made more money than most billionaires, without ever playing by the rules. But in the end, they all lost. Escobar controlled a cocaine empire, but got taken down by the government. The Chinese triad boss built a gambling empire, but prison caught up to him. Elizabeth Holmes faked her way to billions, but ended up in jail. The Russian oligarch played the game too well, until he disappeared. The hacker who stole millions, still free. For now. Some say crime pays. But as these stories prove, it always comes at a price. What do you think? Would you take the risk for billions? Let us know in the comments, and if you want more crazy money stories, hit that like button and subscribe.